So chat, today we're going to be tier listing the CS2 knives based on price, and I made a video about a week ago that has aged like milk, and this was the result of that tier list, okay? And so remember, this is by price, so it's kind of like if like I was picking the best knives based on the price, you know what I mean? So Talon was kind of cheap back then, or it wasn't cheap, but it was less expensive than the Karambit by about half, you know what I mean? So I put it in S tier, you know, okay, basically that's how I'm explaining this. So it's not based on like how good the knives are, because personally I think Karambit's an S tier knife, but it's just how good they are for the price. But after what happened recently, I think I gotta remake the tier list here. So we're gonna reset this and get right into it. I need to make an F tier here for the inevitable F tier that we're gonna have. And let's make sure that we have kind of the cool knives at the end here, because I wanna talk about them. And then for some reason there's like these 4 knives here that aren't even like in the game. I know these 2 are, but it's just weird. Anyways, where's the butterfly? I gotta also move that, or M9. There we go. And then we need the butterfly also at the end here. Nice. Okay, let's get right into it. So I don't know the prices of the knives anymore. Like I haven't checked. I've been avoiding checking because I just like have been so shocked by the situation, but I guess it's time to go through. And I guess I'll base these off of the vanilla knife price, or I'll just base it kind of off the average price, you know what I mean? How much could you get a decent finish for? So first up, I guess we got the Kukri knife. And this knife I actually really like. I think it's got good animations. I think it's just a solid knife overall. I think it's a little weirdly shaped. You can get a fade for $182. Are you serious? That actually blows my mind. I think fade before the update was like $500, $600. Oh my goodness. What? You could get a knife for $50. You could get a Kukri knife for $50. Are you kidding me? This is not real. This is actually not real. I can't believe this. I mean, I guess in terms of budget, I'll just go with the vanilla knife price here, which is $90. And this is a nice knife that you can get now for just $90. Like, I don't think you understand how crazy this is. A week ago, you would be getting a Navaja knife, Forest DD battle scarred, looking like it was dragged across the sidewalk for $90. And now you can get one of these. Insane. Absolutely insane. I'm going to put this in S tier. That's insane. That is ridiculous. Next up, we got the Falchion knife. And if the Kukri is this cheap, boy, I don't even know what the Falchion's going to be. So looking at the Falchion knife here, it looks like it's honestly about the same prices as Kukri. We can see Fade is about $200 here. Fade doesn't actually look super nice on the Falchion just because this handle's kind of dull. I feel like they should do some justice and put some Fade on the handle or something like that. You know what I mean? All the other finishes have stuff on the handle here. So I guess let's see. Tiger Tooth, another finish I enjoy. This is only $100 to $200. Solid skin right here for you know, you guys, and this is a very cheap knife, and I'm pretty sure I put this in S tier before the update, by the way. So this is also just gonna land us in S tier once again. Insane. Next up, we've got the normal bayonet, and I actually pulled one of these from here. Just going to my CS inventory, I pulled one of these from a knife trade up. If you want to see my video on that, go to my channel. But we traded up to this bayonet Damascus steel. Okay, the bayonet. Let's be honest, it's lil bro. It's lil bro. That's what it is at the end of the day. But the prices aren't bad if we're looking at it. I mean, prices before the update, I think it was like especially for like a fade, I think it was like $600, maybe even like $800 for like a fade, maybe even like $1,000. But now you can get a decent one. The only thing is, I think the animations on this are good. I just don't like the knife as much as the M9 bayonet. The M9 bayonet is so big. It shows off so much of the finish. It has so much more personality than this. I also don't like how dirty the handle looks on this. It just looks kind of bad in my opinion. But overall, pretty good knife. Solid budget knife, honestly. I'm going to put this... Oh my gosh. These are all budget knives at this point. I guess... Yeah, we'll still put this in S tier. I think it's going to be a lower S tier though. Next up, the flip knife. the flip knife was kind of a budget knife before the update, you know what I mean? So honestly, interestingly, I don't think it's dropped too much in price, you know what I mean? Like, it's about kind of the same, you know what I mean? Like, call me crazy, but I feel like it is around the same price. I mean, it's obviously a little bit lower, but yeah. I mean, people like this because of how clean it looks. I don't know. I just don't really see it personally. I feel like it's too rough and kind of rigid to be like clean, you know what I mean? I guess it's got this kind of shape to it on the hand or on the blade, which is kind of nice, I guess you could like argue. But I don't know, me personally, it's all right, you know what I mean? It's all right. So I'm gonna give it a tier here because it's not ridiculously cheap, for example, like the Kukri, and I just don't personally like the knife as much as some of the others on this list. Even though if you like the knife, respect to you, man. It's a good knife. I won't lie, it still is a good knife. Next up, we've got the gut knives. I find it hard to believe that a gut knife fade is the same as a Kukri fade. I wonder why. Because I feel like the Kukri, I think pretty much everybody could agree that the Kukri is just better than the gut knife. So I don't know why that gut knives are going for. Actually, would it be because there's more reds for the Kukri, so they've been traded up to more? I don't know, but interesting. I guess now I'll probably put this in about B or C tier just because it's kind of a mid knife. And honestly, it didn't get that much cheaper from honestly, I'm pretty sure it just didn't get that much cheaper, and the Kukri is so much better, and it's, you know, about the same price. So yeah, that's where that's gonna land. I think a lot of this could just be the market like depreciation, because we can see all these knives are about the same value here. Like, I mean, seriously. Okay, so anyways, Huntsman knife. I do like this. It was a good budget skin before. But if we look at the Huntsman knife here, it does look like a lot of the finishes are still decently expensive. Like, for example, wait, okay, never mind. The fade is $200. Never mind. It just showed 420 because of the minimal wear for some reason. But yeah, I mean, I guess it's still just like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's still a budget knife at the end of the day, and it looks nice. I like the Huntsman. I think it's got a good personality to it, you know what I mean? So I feel like it deserves. I want to give it S tier, but we have some good knives in S tier. Let's give it high A tier. Next up, Shadow Daggers. And unfortunately, I think you guys are probably all going to be able to get. Oh my, they are cheap though. They are cheap. They are cheap, but here's my argument, okay? No matter how cheap these knives get, I will never get these. I think these are the worst knives in the game. I think it's not even a competition. I think if there's any knife in the game we can crown as the worst, it's this one. And even though it's budget and you can get them for cheap, I'd almost prefer just have a default knife than these like freaking sticks, dude. Freaking, they look so bad, dude. Let's just be honest. Let's be honest. F tier. Even with the budget, I just wouldn't ever buy them. And that's kind of a me thing. So, you know, you can take that with your own grain of salt if you want. But next up, we have my favorite budget knife in the game, which is the, what's it called? The freaking Bowie. Wow, that took a second. Okay, Bowie knife. So the thing about the Bowie is it's kind of like a miniature M9 bayonet, in my opinion, because it's like, it's a really big knife. You know what I mean? And the M9 bayonet is also a really big knife. And so it's like, I think this is really good because I like that you can see a lot of the finish. You know what I mean? I think that's really important to me whenever I look for a knife, is how much of the finish can you see. And I just think it actually has good animation. It has really good animation. It's a very underrated knife for how cheap it is. So honestly, the prices are pretty cheap for some of these cheaper finishes here. The Tiger Tooth. Some of the skins I would get, you know, for example, like the lore, they're cheaper as well. So this is looking like a very good knife to get if you're into these knives. 168 for the fade. Wow, insane. Look at this. You could own this. You could own this for $100 now. That's insane. Very good knife. And I'm gonna put this one in our top of S tier at the moment, just because I like the knife so much, and I feel like it's cheap. It's very cheap. So very good. Next up, we've got the default knife, the CT side default knife. And we have to consider these two are free. And I would consider this better than a gut knife. Maybe. I mean, the animations of gut knife are cool if you're like an opper, but me personally, I'm not really an opper. I talked about this before, but I feel like it would be really cool to see some finishes. Like, imagine we had like a case that was like a CT side case or something, and it gave like a fade to this or like a tiger tooth to this. I feel like people would pay a lot of money to see the default knives in good finishes. I personally don't like the T-side knife as much. I feel like the handle and the design of the CT knife are better. But we have to remember, these are both $0, so you get these very good. So anything below these at this point is just going to be knives that I probably wouldn't even bother getting. So next up, we've got the Paracord. This knife received a lot of hate, and I don't know why. I actually have owned Paracords in the past. I guess maybe it's because of the animations, but I've heard a lot of people say they just don't like the handles of these things, which I don't understand because I think the handle looks kind of nice. You know, it looks kind of like a zombie apocalypse type knife. You know what I mean? It feels like something you jab in a zombie's head, and like I don't know. Oh wow, these are still expensive. It's just because Crimson Web Factory news are pretty rare. That's why. But yeah, everything else is still very cheap here. 126 for a fade. Wow. I mean, if you're looking for a budget knife, this is one right here. This is insanely cheap. Ridiculous. I'm gonna put this bottom of S tier. I guess just going through this, it is just insane to me how cheap the knives are. And if this video should say anything to you, it's that like if you're into skins, you should get a knife now. Like objectively, like I think that's the number one thing this video should say. You know, skins are now at a place where it's like you can get a knife for an actual reasonable price and not $7,000 for a knife. You know what I mean? I feel like that's worth something. You know what I mean? So yeah. Anyways, that's what I was trying to say with that. So I have a link in the description. Skin port. You can use my link. Get skins cheaper than the Steam market. Fire. You know what I mean? And it supports me out a lot. So I would appreciate if you do that. Next up, we have the survival knife. Where is that? Survival knife. So, wow. 115. I really like this knife because I just feel like, I don't know, it just kind of looks, it's not the best knife in the game, but it's a solid knife. And this is like our cheapest one yet. This is insanely cheap for, oh my gosh. And you can just get your favorite finishes on this. For example, tiger tooth here. Wow, I literally just can't believe how cheap all these are. I'm going to put this one in high A tier as well. I'm going to put it behind the Huntsman. I think the Huntsman's a little bit better than the Survival. Next up, the Classic. I'm imagining this one's gone pretty cheap as well. The Classic knife tends to be one of the cheaper knives. It wasn't really before the update, but I guess now it's probably going to be, is my guess, if I had to guess or bet on it. Yeah, so it's still not one of the cheapest knives, but it's kind of insane that they're still really cheap. You know what I mean? Like, wow. Wow, man. $231 for this. I personally don't. I think there's better options out there is the only problem. I do like the Classic knife, but I think we have better options here. You know what I mean? I think getting the flip knife for about the same price is probably a better option. I think all these are better options to get at better prices. You know what I mean? These are all cheaper than the Classic knife, but they're all better in my opinion. If you got them on any finish, I feel like you can't really disagree with me there. Next up, we've got the Navaja knife. This knife, I guess, hasn't really dropped in price much. I mean, it was kind of the bottom of the barrel anyways, 93, so it is our cheapest so far for a fade here. I like the marble handle. I've said this before. The thing is, I would have put this relatively high on a budget tier list before, just because, wow, this piano is getting loud. Can you stop, please? Thank you. Okay, chill. Anyways, I would have put this relatively high on a budget list before, just because, you know, it's really cheap. You know, you didn't have to put a large price investment down on it. But if you can get some of these skins now for the same price as a Navaja is right now, why would you get a Navaja? You know what I mean? I'm going to put this D tier now because thing is, I feel like I wouldn't really buy any of these. I feel like I wouldn't buy the Navaja. I would just instantly go to better options now. You know what I mean? Because the only argument for the Navaja was it was a cheap knife, but now that there's just all these better knives out there for about the same price, it's like, why would you get a Navaja anymore? You know what I mean? Is it a horrible knife? Not really. So it gets a lot of hate, and I disagree with the hate, but I just think, you know, now we have so many better options for cheaper. Next up, the Nomad knife. I think it's interesting that all these skins are landing at around a decent price. I guess the Doppler's still... The Doppler looks really nice on the Nomad knife, though, I'm not going to lie. But the Doppler is a little bit more expensive here, we can see. So, yeah, we're still ending around the same price point. I guess this is kind of our most expensive, because, look, we have 286 for a fade. This is more expensive than the classic knife. And honestly, call me crazy, but I think all three of these knives are better. I'm going to put this ahead of the classic knife, but I'm going to put it in B tier. Next up, the skeleton knife. I'd be interested, because this is still a... I'd say skeleton is like the lowest high tier knife out there. You know, I'd say it's a high tier knife, but I'd say it's the lowest one. So, looking at the prices here, what's our fade looking at? So, still pretty expensive, which is... Honestly, I did kind of expect it. And, you know, this is going to piss some of you guys off, but I don't really care. I don't like the skeleton knife's inspects. I don't like this. I don't like this inspect. I like how it looks in game. I like how it looks here. I like the handle of it, but the handle you don't really see in game. But the thing about the skeleton knife I don't like is the fidget spinner animation. It's just kind of, I don't know. I don't really like it. It's too much for me. And then I don't like this kind of gimmicky inspect over here. Sorry, I want to get the normal inspect. I don't like this kind of gimmicky inspect. I wish it was just like held in your hand and not like spun around your finger. I don't know. Something about it doesn't resonate with me. I personally would never really get one of these, but I understand why people would. It's still a good knife. But honestly, for the price currently, I'm also going to put it in D tier. I would probably put this like knife A or B tier just based off the quality of the knife. But because it's like pretty much double the price of our other knives on this list, you know, and this is just based off price kind of, you know, I'm going to have to put it in D tier. I'm sorry. I know it's going to catch a lot of hate. I don't care. I stand on that. Next up, we've got the stiletto knife. And the stiletto knife... Oh my gosh! Wow! Wow. I remember this breached 1,200 at this point. This specific tiger tooth, because this was one my friend was looking at. And he was very excited about it. I might cop one of these. I really like the stiletto knife. And just seeing how cheap it is now is absolutely incredible. Like, getting one of these things, like... is a good idea. It has good animations, you know what I mean? Flip it in your hand a little bit. You feel... I don't know. I just feel like this is like the ideal knife to stab somebody with. Like, I feel like you're like rich or like a mafia boss if you use this to stab somebody. And it gives off such an aura, dude. It gives off such an aura to it. It's just like clean, you know what I mean? You feel like John Wick with like a pencil or something. Me personally though, I'm not like a... I still do really like this knife, but I haven't gotten one yet just because I'm a big fan of seeing a lot of the finish on your knife. And on this, you don't really see a lot of finish. It's more about the design of the knife. But still, given how budget it is, I'm going to put it in A tier. It's still a little bit more expensive than these, and honestly, I think some of these are better. But yeah, very solid knife. Next up, we've got the Ursus, and I would have considered this a mid-tier knife, but I don't even need to... inspect it on the website because I have an Ursus knife. This is actually a knife I was running with this combo, so we'll inspect it with the combo, I guess. But yeah, this knife, it was a budget knife before, but now it's probably now it is really cheap. I know mine is like $200 now, but honestly, I feel like yeah, so you can see here mine is like $200. I think it's interesting that the marble fade is a lot cheaper for some reason. Because the tiger tooth, weirdly enough, was cheaper before the update than the marble fade, but whatever. We can see the prices here are pretty cheap, 182 for a fade, so it's solid. And I feel like I like the animations of this. I don't really like the spin animation, but I kind of just like how simplistic the knife is. And when you don't get the spin animation, I kind of like this animation here. I think it's a good inspect. I think it's a solid knife. It's clean. It's got this box cutter type design to it. I mess with it. I'm going to put this one in the bottom of S tier now. A lot of knives are breaching this S tier. Next up, I've been really excited since the update because the thing is, I'm a huge Karambit enjoyer, But the problem is that I was never able to actually like buy a Karambit. You know what I mean? They were way too out of my price range. And actually, well, I guess they weren't out of my price range, but I just spent my money on other things. You know what I mean? Because I would rather have like really cool play skins, like for example the Be the Monster, the AKK Harden Pattern Index 126 62% blue gem. I would rather have the Prince Stream, this op, you know, than whatever that's red. You know, I'm much rather a play skins guy rather than a knife only guy. You know, I'd rather have good play skins than one good knife in my inventory, if that makes sense. So that's why I never really was in the price range for a Karambit, but I think now I am in the price range for a Karambit. And you might see me rocking a Karambit Doppler here soon on the channel, because I really like Karambits. They're my favorite knife in the game if you watched my my tier list on just the knives, not regarding the price. So that being said, this is based on price, and I still think that these aren't super insane for the price. Call me crazy, but let's look at the Talon before we rank the Karambit, because the Talon is just the little brother of the Karambit. But honestly, it's the little brother in like a good way. Like, you know what I mean? It's like maybe the big brother like went and like pursued, like he was like really good at football, you know? So he's still the GOAT, right? But then the little brother went and like is really good at like basketball or something, you know? It's like equally as goated, but just in different ways. That's how I'm describing the Talon versus Karambit debate. And we can see the Talons are pretty cheap now. This was like 700 to 1,000 before the update, I'm pretty sure. Kind of insane. I think the Talon's handle is really nice. I think it pulls off a lot of finishes really well. I think the Dopplers look really nice with the Talon. So does the Fade. And something interesting, I guess, that I'm noticing here, is that the Talon knife didn't drop too much in price. It dropped like 40% looking at these, because these were already pretty cheap before. But we can see, I guess, the prices are a lot cheaper, yeah. So I'm going to put the Talon in, I'm going to put it high, I'm going to put it low A tier, because I feel like it's still a lot more expensive. Actually, I'll put it high A tier, because it's way better than all these knives right here. But it's a little bit more expensive. So it doesn't deserve, on like a budget tier list, it doesn't deserve this S tier. Next up, we've got the Karambit. I think the Karambit, just as a knife, disregarding price, is a little bit better than the Talon. I think it's just more clean, or more sleek. I don't know how to explain it. But it's just going up prices here. This thing's still pretty expensive, you know, like I was just saying. So is it cheaper? Yes. I think a lot of people are going to be running these now, and I think that's a good thing. They are a lot cheaper though. You know what I mean? They are definitely a lot cheaper. Karambit Fade running still $1,600. That's not cheap. You know what I mean? I think it was like 4,000 before the update though. So it's still pricey. It's just not as pricey. So still a really good knife, but for the price, I mean, I'd rather just buy a Talon. Just saying, I'd rather just buy a Talon. It's still pretty expensive. You know what I mean? Next up, butterfly knife. And if I'm not mistaken, these things are erring on the cheaper side now. Like, okay, I guess I'm kind of wrong, but you can get some of these cheaper finishes, like a Tiger Tooth, $800. Not bad, man, not bad. And the Tiger Tooth is such a slept-on finish. Look at this thing, looks really nice, for $800 now. But we can see some of these other finishes still are running us into the, I guess, less ideal range. I guess you could just make an argument to get the minimal wear here. But yeah, the butterfly knife still stays expensive, but honestly, I consider it like an A tier knife if we're not even counting finishes. So the thing is that I think this is going to land us in our F tier spot, because is it a good knife? Yes. Is it way more expensive than everything here? Yes. Is a lot of these things that much worse than a butterfly? No. Like, the butterfly is just not that much better than a lot of these things. Is it better than a lot? It's better as a knife than every knife in S tier, but all these are $200 and this is $2,000. So I think it's a no-brainer for me to put it in an S tier, or I mean F tier. And next up, we've got, or finally, I guess, we've got the M9 Bayonets. The M9 Bayonet is a really good knife. I'd put this one behind the Karambit in S tier. And it looks like you can get these things for pretty cheap now, man. Pretty cheap. And as the Karambit's finishes were still like $1,000, these things are, I guess they are around the $1,000 range. So it's about the same price point as the Karambit. So I guess fairly, we just put it slightly behind the Karambit, you know what I mean? But very good knife, and you can get these things for cheap now. $500 for a Tiger Tooth. Just putting it out there. $800 for a Doppler. Wow. Insane. I can't believe the current state the market's in. But anyways, this is our final tier list. If you're looking to buy any of these skins for cheap, use my link in the description. Supports me a lot. I'd appreciate it. 2v2 Wingman tournament at 200 members. $50 prize if you win. So join up, win yourself some skins, and subscribe if you think Valve should revert the update.